If you are having issues with rodents in your home, more specifically mice and rats, I have some potential remedies for you. First of all, let's understand this. Before there was any houses or buildings or corporations, companies, factories, churches, or what have you ever built, animals lived here. That's not going to change. Nature is always going to be here. With that said, no matter what building you construct, there's always going to be the likelihood of having possible invasion from time to time, however subtle it may be, and even possibly an infestation if you don't stay on top of the maintenance of that facility and or building. Now, mice and especially rats can be a hindrance. They can reproduce relatively rapid, and before you know it, you can end up with an infestation, and you don't want that. They can leave behind harmful waste material. They can have behind odors that are filthy. They can destroy electrical appliances because they love to chew on wires. In addition to gnawing on wood, because that's what rodents do. Not to mention uh, eating up your product in your store or in your home, especially if it's bagged or boxed. And even possibly you being bitten or attacked by a rat, especially. Mice, this is generally not the case. Mice usually range from 2 to 3 inches in size. Rats, adult size is usually from 7 inches or more. They could potentially also carry rabies if you are bitten. Now, I have some possible remedy for you. Some of these things are a no-brainer. You probably have already known and or used these things before. These are the sticky traps here for your mice. These are pretty effective. Okay. Now, they get caught on this little bait in the middle of the trap. You check it every few days. You find a rodent or a mouse, that is, throw the whole trap away. Same is true with the snap trap. These here, the spring loaded snap trap. Okay, these are effective as well for mice. There's a larger version of the snap trap for rats. It can be effective and has been effective to some degree depending on how big and or mature the rat is. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, rats are very intelligent. They're smart creatures. Now, I was showing you the glue trap a second ago. This is about what a typical mouse glue trap looks like, but I don't have the rat in front of me right now, but it's about this size here. Rats can elude a glue trap about this size. If they get stuck on it, they'll take that trap with them and try to get unconnected or disconnected from that trap if they possibly can. That's how smart they are. But mice, it's not the case in most instances. They usually end up dying on the trap, or you just throw them away while they're still alive. Now, as far as the snap traps are concerned, for the rat, usually about that size, okay, or about the size of the cardboard I just showed you. Maybe a little bit longer for the rats. They can get caught on a trap like this. But let me tell you from my experience in time past, we think that rats love cheese. but rats love peanut butter, from my experience. Not that I've had many, I've had enough, but from my experience, they like peanut butter better than cheese. They'll eat anything that's available, but they love peanut butter. And from my experience, I have seen after I baited the trap with peanut butter, I've come back on more than one occasion and the peanut butter was gone and the trap is still sitting there intact and still set. And I have also seen the trap had already been initiated. It is snapped, in other words, no rat, but the peanut butter is still gone. I don't know what happened first. The trap snapped and then he ate the peanut butter, or he ate the peanut butter off of it and it snapped while he was walking away. Whatever the case was, they can even elude these sometimes. But I've had more success with rats on a trap, a rat trap that is like this, as opposed to the glue trap. Now, getting down to the nitty gritty. First of all, when you're putting food bait down for a rat, this applies to mice too, but let's just say rats right now. That's the thing I'm focusing on before I close. Understand this. Rodents have good hearing, they have good smelling, and they typically can see good as well. So, understand that they're using their senses to survive. So, they can smell humans' scent. So, if you touch the food that you're trying to put out for them for bait, they smell your scent and they'll walk away from it oftentimes because they know that that's not an animal like them. So you want to always, anytime you're baiting a trap with food or food substance, wear a plastic glove. So this can disguise the odor of your hand or the oils on your hand when you're touching the food that you're putting out for bait or food poison bait combination. All right. So now just write that down. So here's a couple things that I want to give to you that you can use for a rat to fool it. Peanut butter and baking soda. We have peanut butter that they love. Baking soda, they're not going to touch it. They're going to walk away from it. So you want to mix the peanut butter and the baking soda together into like little pellets and or balls, like snacks, right? So remember to wear the gloves and mix the baking soda into the peanut butter into little balls while you have the gloves on, so that they won't be able to detect the baking soda. Maybe a little bit more peanut butter than baking soda. So what happens is that bicarbonate of soda, the baking soda, meets up with the stomach acid in the rat, and it causes gas, carbon dioxide. They can't pass wind or gas. A rat does not have the ability to do that. So it's going to cause a rupture inside the rat's stomach and or intestinal tract, thereby killing it. Another possible solution, another possible solution would be plaster of Paris. You can buy this in the craft store, or you can buy it at a hardware store, even Walmart. Plaster of Paris and peanut butter as well. And the same thing is true. Mix it real well so that the plaster of Paris is undetectable to the rat. Mix it into the peanut butter into little balls. Again, that's the bait. So you're baiting the animal with something that it's going to detect, that it loves, and it is disguising the poison within. So what happens when the plaster of Paris enters the digestive system of a rat, it hardens, so it cannot pass. It's like putting plaster or concrete inside the intestines, and that's going to kill the rat. Now we have one other one. It's going to be chicken broth and boric acid. Boric acid is toxic, not only to insects, but also to rats and mice. So you want to take and boil you some chicken broth. Of course, you want it to cool. And you want to get you some boric acid. Start out with a teaspoon or so of boric acid in the container that you don't want, like an old can or a cup or bowl or what have you, and gradually add the chicken broth to it, the boric acid, and stir it up until it has a consistency of a paste, making it into little balls. Little balls. All of the things that I just mentioned to you, make sure that you put it alongside the walls where mice and rats travel. They run along the edge of walls. Very rarely do you see them in your home running across the middle of the floor unless you really have them bad, but they typically travel alongside of the walls for protection. So now you place these balls in areas that you know that they frequent. And what happens with the boric acid and chicken broth solution is the same. Boric acid is a poison that will not agree with a rat. It's going to kill it dead. So you have those three possible or potential remedies to get rid of rats in your home. Now, there's something else. It comes in a little block. It's green. Give me a moment.